New satellite imagery indicates that North Korea is still working on its ballistic missile program. In fact, they never really stopped, and we have some specific details on that. Now, I just want to remind you that after Donald Trump's summit with Kim Jong-un in Singapore, he had tweeted, quote, "There is no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea."
Come on.
But national security experts and investigators argue that that is a lie. So analysis by the Middlebury Institute of International Studies provided exclusively to NBC News describes a secret military base deep in North Korea's interior. Yeah, obviously it's gonna be deep in North Korea's interior, that analysts believe could house missiles capable of reaching the United States. So North Korea has continued its ballistic missile program at a number of bases, but it's significant that they have not tested one in nearly a year. That's according to an anonymous American defense official. We need to give the diplomats time and space to work. So basically, there's mounting evidence indicating that North Korea has not stopped its nuclear development. At the same time, the response that we're seeing from Trump's White House is, no, be cool. I mean, like, they haven't tested anything, so that's good, right? No, but it's not good enough. The president argued that we no longer have to worry about North Korea as a nuclear threat, but they still pose a nuclear threat. Just because they haven't tested anything recently doesn't really mean that they don't pose a threat anymore. Also, researchers, real quick, just some specific numbers for you because this is relevant. Researchers had identified 13 of an estimated 20 undeclared North Korean missile bases and included a detailed analysis of one facility, which is about 50 miles north of the demilitarized zone separating North and South Korea.
Yeah, so look, there are no good guys in this story, and it's a complicated one. So the North Koreans obviously not good guys, the government. Trump is a buffoon. He went in there and made things worse. I wish he made them better. I like that he was talking to Kim Jong-un, but when you come out and say they no longer have a nuclear threat, you've taken any ability to negotiate with them away because you already declared them not guilty and they're good, and so we should lift sanctions. By the way, now Russia and China, encouraged by that, have opened up more and more trade with North Korea.
Yeah.
But in return, we got nothing. We got vague promises that were, like, I can't even say they didn't keep them because the promises were so vague, we don't even know what they were. So they continued to do the things that they are, that's obvious. There's one more set of bad guys, but what did you want to say?
So I wanted to just kind of add on to what you just said about how Trump actually made things worse. Because when you first said that, my knee-jerk reaction was to say, no, he didn't really make things worse. I mean, they don't seem to pose an immediate threat the same way that they had prior to the summit. But things have gotten worse because you are right in that this whole situation has taken any bargaining chip away from the United States. So previously, the sanctions were crippling Kim Jong-un, which is why he and his goons were willing to sit at the table and have a conversation or negotiations about possibly denuclearizing. However, now, China and Russia are like, whatever, man, we're cool. We're not going to impose sanctions. We're gonna continue doing trade with you. In fact, they ramped up trade with North Korea. So any sanctions that we as the United States have toward North Korea are incredibly weak. They're not working. So yeah, things have gotten worse. Right now, North Korea has no reason to denuclearize because they are being propped up economically by trade with Russia and China.
Yeah, so the last set of bad guys and why this story is not as clear-cut as it would seem is the military-industrial complex and the establishment. They want war. If you noticed, the statement that Anna read was from an anonymous defense company official, okay? That's interesting. And it was pretty vague, and it said that they have not done anything in over a year. So wait a minute, so why are we panicking now? And so as I read through this entire NBC News story, it was littered with guys who work for defense contractors, including what I would consider the infamous General Barry McCaffrey. I say infamous because he's the guy that before during the Iraq War came on NBC News, the same news organization, and said the best way to fight against Iraq is the Abrams tank. Not mentioning that he was working for the people who build the Abrams tank. So these guys get paid to push war in the media, and often do it through, by the way, honestly, NBC. And so he's got a quote in here that's also not backed up and vague. He said they have nuclear weapons, they have delivery systems, and they're not going to denuclearize. Now wait, we're not really entirely sure how well developed their nuclear program is, whereas you're making definitive statements that I have not seen backed up in other government intelligence officials. And throughout the story, there was more of that. They said that there was an active military base, said one expert. A defector said that it was built to house medium range no-dong missiles, but they said it could be used for longer range missiles to hit us. But wait a minute, you just told me the defector said that it was built for mid-range missiles. So your supposition that they're gonna use it to hit us is just not really backed up by the fact, but you did add a little extra fear-mongering in there. So be careful about all of these sources. So, and we as progressives are stuck in the middle here. We have a buffoon who doesn't know how to do this, and he's unfortunately being counterproductive in a situation where talking to your enemies is what you have to do in order to get to peace. It could have been a productive situation, but he bungled it. And of course, he's not telling the truth about it. Oh, it's all solved. I mean, who's so childlike that they think you have one meeting with the other guy's leader, you get a vague promise, and you think it's all solved, right? And on the other hand, you have guys who want to lead you in a war, who desperately want to do it, and I've seen them play this game before. So be careful what you're getting from everyone involved in this story.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. And I don't know, the way that I feel would be the most effective in dealing with this situation is having those diplomatic conversations, talking about how you can work with this type of country economically. Because look, the fact of the matter is there are a bunch of countries that have nuclear weapons, and they're countries that we don't get along with or don't particularly like. I mean, Pakistan has nuclear weapons, Russia has nuclear weapons. All these countries have nuclear weapons, and they don't pose an imminent threat to the United States. And part of the reason why is because we sit down and we talk with them, we make deals with them, we negotiate with them. I'm in favor of that. I don't want to go to war with North Korea, but I worry about someone like Trump, who is incredibly thin-skinned and can flip on someone within seconds. Even if that person isn't intending to insult Trump and Trump just takes it as an insult, he'll lose it. And that's what's happened over and over again with other world leaders.
I mean, that just happened with France. And so if he goes from thinking, oh, I solved it, there's no more nukes in North Korea, I made a very strong deal, right? And he finds out he got played, which he did. By the way, they did not provide a list of nuclear weapons, missiles, facilities, let alone a promise to get rid of any of those specific things in that deal that he thinks he got, which actually was nothing at all, right? And if he feels like he got suckered, which John Bolton might convince him of that, now Bolton would convince him of that not because he cares about reality, but because he wants war. And then Trump could get super mad, and if Kim Jong-un says anything about him personally, boom, next thing you know, we're going in completely the opposite direction. And then he's buying the Barry McCaffreys and the military contractors warnings about how dangerous and imminent a threat North Korea is, and how he's the only one that could protect us. And God knows if there is, an investigation of him, and he needs a distraction. So,
oh no,
Trump is a powder keg. In North Korea, it's a room filled with powder kegs. So that is as dangerous a situation as you could have. I just hope we make it out of the Trump administration before any of this blows. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.